Baker Mayfield and the Browns are on a bye this week. Can Baker figure things out and still salvage the season? Mac Jones made a statement yesterday off the field.
Yes.
Is he following in Tom Brady's footsteps with said statement? We will explain. And it is Thursday, which means Broussard's Under Duress list is back. The Bud list. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. Alongside Nick Wright, Chris Broussard, Kevin Wilds. I'm Jenna Wolfe. Broussard, Mahomes has been synonymous with the Bud list. It's like Bud list, Mahomes, Bud list. Boom! Are we going to see more of the same today?
We might, Jenna. I like putting Mahomes on the Bud list. That's why he's turned it around. You know, the beat's got me.
Broussard's feeling himself this morning.
Oh, the beat.
Yeah, he's got the Bud list.
I'm
feeling the beat.
Man,
I'm feeling the beat.
It's good. I love it.
It's 1987 at Claremont College all over again.
There it is.
Look at Broussard.
All right.
Oberlin.
We'll get to Broussard beating down. We got to start with a little Thursday night football. Cowboys kicking off Week 13 down in New Orleans. Been a rough stretch for Dallas of late. They've lost 3 of the last 4 games, bumped from the top of Nick's tiers, and the capper, they're going to be without head coach Mike McCarthy and 5 other coaches tonight because of a team COVID outbreak. They did get a little good news. They did activate Amari Cooper off the COVID list. They're expecting CeeDee Lamb back in the lineup, so maybe a little juice back in that offense. But, Nick, is this a must-win game for the Dallas Cowboys tonight against the Saints?
Well, if their personal goals are the goals that I have for them, then yes, it's absolutely a must-win. If their goals are to actually, for the first time in a quarter century, compete for a championship, compete to get to the Super Bowl, then yes, they have to win tonight, Broussard. If the goal is just, hey, have a typical Cowboys season, win a bad division, show up in the playoffs, and be gone by the end of the divisional round, then no, they could lose today and still be fine for that division. But I have higher hopes for them. Their hopes, however, Broussard, are tied to the play of Dak Prescott. And fact of the matter is, for tonight's game and for the rest of the season moving forward, we need the Dak Prescott pre-calf injury to show up. We can quickly show you the numbers, and I know I'm the only person on the show that thinks injuries sometimes affect pro athletes, but I do believe injuries at times affect pro athletes. Before the injury, Broussard, he might have been league MVP with respect to Jameis Winston and Tom Brady. Since he missed that game with the calf injury, he has been pedestrian at best. That looks like Mac Jones numbers. Like, okay, it's fine. He can't be that. He's got to be better. And so the question is, Broussard, which Dak Prescott is going to show up now and for the rest of the season? Is that calf fully healed? And can the Cowboys go on a run in a very soft portion of their schedule, Broussard? I think they can, and I think Dak's going to play well tonight.
Okay, first of all, you took about 4 shots at us on the panel. So, wow, that was impressive the way you just worked those in smoothly. But look, you're right in that mathematically, obviously, it's not a must-win. But there is a mathematical component. Because if they lose this game, Nick, they go from a team that a month ago we were talking about had a chance to reach the Super Bowl to a team that, will they still make the playoffs? And I know they'll still be in the lead in the NFC East. But they'll only be 1 up on Washington in the loss column. Washington, one of the hottest teams in the league. They won 3 straight. Obviously, they beat Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Impressive win. But the 2 other quarterbacks they've taken down, I know they're not what they were in the past, but Cam Newton and Russell Wilson. All right, so Tom Brady, Cam Newton, Russell Wilson, those are the 3 guys that Washington has beaten lately. So those aren't going to be easy games for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. But beyond that equation, I think psychologically and emotionally, this is a must-win. It is huge. Look, we know they've lost 3 out of 4, 2 straight. Dak Prescott has said this is very urgent. He said the team is pissed off. And if you come out with, after that being your state of mind, stated by your leader, Dak Prescott, and you lose on national television to a team that's lost 4 straight games, that's starting their 3rd-string quarterback, and that quarterback has a foot injury that he's braving through, plantar fascia, and you lose, where are you going to be at mentally? They are not led by Tom Brady, who looks at 7-5 whiles last year. No big deal. We'll roll through it. All right, this team hasn't done anything together. All right, they got 1 playoff win in 6 years. And so if they fall to 7-5, having been 6-1, I just think mentally, Wilds, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I could see it happening, too. I'm officially putting the Cowboys on upset alert. Usually we do upset alerts on Friday. I jumped the gun a little bit. I'm putting the Cowboys on upset alert. Here's why. First of all, Thursday night, weird games on Thursday night. Falcons just didn't show up against the Patriots, even though the Patriots manhandled them. There's a Thursday night element to that. Week before that, remember? Oh, the Dolphins all of a sudden sack Lamar and destroy the Ravens. Weird Thursday night games. Tom Brady, is there 5 downs or 4 guys? Thursday night games. There's something weird, a little Thursday night magic. Here's the other part, Nick. Overrated and underrated. I'm going to show you back-to-back full screens. Someone who everybody thinks is playing better than he actually is, and someone who everybody thinks is worse than he actually is. So first, let's go to overrated. And that is Zeke. Oh, Zeke feels good. Zeke's back. Zeke's showing burst. Okay, he was. But since week 5, everything is down. Attempts are down, yards are down, TDs are down, yards per rush are down. Now he's got this little knee injury, like feed Zeke, feed Zeke, feed Zeke. All right, I don't know if Zeke is 100% healthy. All right, Wilds, well, who's underrated? Oh, you know it. This guy likes to take a lot of slings and arrows because he's not a real quarterback. Oh, he's out there, he's a fullback who gets a lot of snaps. Hey, I think he's tough to plan for. I think Dan Quinn would prefer to play a guy that he's seen a lot of. Numbers don't lie. The guy's 3-1. If I was Dan Quinn, I would rather go up against a traditional, normal quarterback. Taysom, I think it's a challenge for Dan Quinn in the Cowboys defense. We haven't seen a lot of Taysom Hill this year. I think it is ripe for an upset, Nick.
There's a reason.
Watch. You're going to be eating
there's a reason we haven't seen a lot of
Taysom
Hill. It's because he's not a very good quarterback. Now, for the Saints, a lot of whether or not they can even compete in this game is going to come down to who's active and who's not. Right now, that listed as questionable is Kamara and both of their starting tackles. If all 3 of those guys play, they should be able to have an effective offense. If none of them play, then Taysom Hill's drawing deader than usual. But I look at the Taysom Hill thing as something different because Broussard, Sean Payton, and the Saints management did something very odd a couple weeks ago. They preemptively gave Taysom Hill an extension when he hasn't been playing this year and when he was hurt. They did not have to do that. This idea that if we don't lock him up now, there's going to be this giant market to give Taysom Hill 8 figures per year, which is what they did, is just ludicrous. That extension could immediately look terrible. Could be a Michael Porter Jr. situation where it's like, oh my God, right after you sign him to an extension, you're like, what have we done? If he starts tonight, which he will, and plays terribly, which he likely will, I think people are going to start saying, oh my God, the annoying guy on First Things First was right about this. You're paying him $10 million a year to a gadget guy, to a homeless man's Cordell Patterson. Like, what are we doing here? And so I think this is I think for the Saints, team building wise, this is a very interesting moment. We're on national television against the most popular team in the league, standalone game. They're going to get to see Taysom Hill cosplay as quarterback, and I don't think that's going to go well for them.
Well, look, I like Taysom. I'm excited to see him play tonight. I'm under no delusion that he's a great quarterback, but I do think, like Wild said, he's tough to prepare for, and he could be effective tonight. Now, the contract's ridiculous. The last contract was ridiculous, and this was ridiculous too, and that was underscored by the fact that when Jameis Winston went down, and nobody's laughing at my dark horse MVP prediction now, they were in the hunt 5-2 when he was healthy. Now they've lost 4 straight, but that's neither here nor there. Now, since he went down, they go with Trevor Siemian. So, yeah, Taysom Hill, I don't understand what Sean Payton's fascination is with him. But let me throw this last thing out before we break. The Cowboys, I get it, because Jenna mentioned McCarthy's out, 5 other coaches are out. There are a lot of excuses that they'll have if they lose. But there are more reasons for them to win beyond the ones we've stated. You're getting DeMarcus Lawrence back. All right? And if, you lose to a third-string quarterback and D-Law is back, what are you thinking mentally? You got your wide receivers back. Yes, Dak and everybody that wants to support him been using the loss of Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb as an excuse for Dak's poor play. Those guys are back. No more excuses. They got to go out and get it done tonight. And Wilds, I like your gumption, but you're wrong. Cowboys roll tonight.
Oh, okay. All right, halfway there.
Well, Cowboys have lost 3 of 4. Saints have lost 3 of 4. Something's got to give, guys. We got Coach coming up later on. He's going to break that game down for us even further. Talk some Mac Jones, or the baby goat, ATW, according to Wilds. He made a move yesterday that had a lot of us thinking about the adult goat. We're talking Mac Jones and Tom Brady. On the other side, first things first.
This is more.
Draw a blank. Yesterday, we learned the Patriots rookie Mac Jones filed for his very own trademark MJ10. That sound familiar? At all? TB something? No? Okay, moving on. Mac plans to sell branded clothing, footwear, accessories with the new tag. Chris Broussard, Mac Jones filing for an MJ10 trademark is blank.
Ooh. It is baby goatish, Jenna. With all due respect to Kevin Wilds, it is baby goatish. Now, I'm not, for the record, I am not on board with Kevin Wilds and Michael Vick in this baby goat nickname for Mac Jones. All right, I think that's a bridge too far. I'm not going there. However, this is a baby goatish move. All right, one of the strengths of Tom Brady, of course, is between the ears, right? And not only being a smart football player, but also his confidence and the fact that he is unflappable. Well, Mac Jones is showing those same qualities in taking the MJ12 or copywriting that nickname. All right, this kid walks into training camp, stares down a former MVP who is wildly popular in the locker room, in the league as a whole, and with the coaches, including the great Bill Belichick. And he takes his job within a matter of weeks. Then he stares down the GOAT. Tom Brady, first trip back to Foxborough. The fans are going crazy in the pregame. Oh, no big deal. He stares him down, goes out there, and outplays Brady in that game. He's actually taken Brady's sideline jaunt, during pregame. Now he's jogging up the sidelines like Brady used to do. And now, Wilds, he is taking Tom Brady's nickname. And I get it. There's a difference between TB12 and MJ10, kind of. But, I mean, it's not a thing in the NFL. What other NFL quarterback has his initials and his jersey number as his nickname?
No.
It's not PM15 for Pat Mahomes.
It's too much.
It's not LJ8 for Lamar Jackson.
No. Yeah, because they're not thieves and losers.
He is taking his nickname. He is taking the name, Nick, and he's saying, you know what? Not only am I not afraid to walk in Brady's shoes, but they're comfortable. They feel good. Okay. They're like Skechers on my feet. That is a baby goat attitude. I like it. I like the attitude.
He already has a nickname. Because his name is not Mac. His name is Michael McCorkle Jones. Look it up, America. Mac is short for McCorkle. I'm shocked he didn't want to go with McCorkle, but my answer is McCorkle Jones filing for an MJ10 trademark is breaking the 4th commandment. Now, I know what you're thinking. Honor thy mother and father? No, not those commandments. I mean Biggie's 10 crack commandments. Don't get high on your own supply. This is a dangerous game you're playing, McCorkle Jones. Because you guys keep saying this is following the footsteps of TB12. No, It's following in the footsteps of another person who so desperately, more than anything, every night wanted to be TB12. JE11. You guys remember the Julian Edelman merchandising empire he tried to build? How's that going for him? He also, by the way, got a little high on his own supply, really on Wild supply. Wild started calling Julian Edelman a future Hall of Famer, and what happens next? 4 games steroid suspension. After that, he's drunkenly hopping on cars in Beverly Hills, getting hemmed up by the Beverly Hills PD. You're playing a dangerous game, McCorkle. I'm warning you now. You are not TB12. You're far closer to JE11. Nobody wants to be that MJ10 trademark. My God, can you do something of note in the league first, please, before you're filing? Can you imagine the disappointment on children's faces worldwide if this Christmas morning they all go up to their stocking? What'd you get me, Dad? What'd Santa bring, Mom? And it's an MJ10 beanie? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing, Wilds?
Well, looks like I know what I'm getting the Wright family for Christmas. Ho, ho, ho! Old Santa Kevin is here with a bag full of MJ10 gear. My answer is winning streak. So here's the thing. Mac Jones is on a winning streak. It's not good enough to just win one game. You got to stack wins. Same way you stack trademarks. So you got the MJ10, which is great. Now it's time to break out the BG10. What are the BGs? Is that a band, the BGs? No, Baby Goat 10. I already put some merchandise. We had our graphics team mock something up. So look, once we got MJ10 out, we got BG10 overalls. It's more like farming gear. It's more like a little bit like Western wear. It's like ranch wear. So it's going to be BG10 like overalls, hats, more farmers, red like flannel shirts, Baby Goat 10, Jenna. So we're going to keep the winning streak going with the trademarks. I like that. It looks a little hefty there, but I like it.
I hate it.
MJ10, the Patriots,
Nick,
back
look at that neck.
Monday night.
Looks good in there.
Against
Is that his neck?
JA17, the Buffalo Bills. Doesn't have the same ring to it.
See, that doesn't work.
We mentioned PM15, Patrick Mahomes. He's been a mainstay on Broussard's Bud list this season. Will he be back on top? There he is. PM15. Find out next. First things first.
What's the Bud list without one?
Time now for Chris Broussard's Under Duress list. Who is under the most duress heading into Week 13? Is it Patrick Mahomes, who's been a regular on the Bud list this season? A bone of entertaining contention amongst you three, but whose Chiefs are back on top of the AFC West? And if it isn't the sneakerhead, Chris Broussard, which 5 guys are under duress entering Week 13?
Well, Jenna, look, the Bud list has served its purpose for Patrick Mahomes. All right, it's gotten him back on track. Now he's playing great again, and it's all because he spent lots of time on the Bud list and was motivated. So here go the fortunate 5 this week, or actually a little more than 5. At number 5, we got Lamar Jackson / Big Ben Roethlisberger. Why do I put those two together? Well, because they're playing against one another in a big AFC North matchup, and both of them are coming off bad games. All right, Big Ben, Big Ben, everyone seems to want to get rid of him as the quarterback for the Steelers. I'm saying who you're putting in, Rudolph, Dwayne Haskins. No, you got to stick with Big Ben, but he could use a good game to keep their playoff hopes, faint as they are, alive. Lamar Jackson coming off a horrific game, 4 interceptions, even though they won against Cleveland. But it's not just the last game. Look at Lamar over the last 5 games he's played. He's been bad. He hasn't been electric at all. Look at that, 27th in completion percentage, 20th in the league in passing yards per game, 29th TD to interception, 9 picks last 5 games, and 33rd in a 32-team league in passer rating. Lamar, people were thinking another MVP this year. He's got to get it together. All right, at number 4, we are going with Russell Wilson. All right, because, Russell was squawking in the offseason like Aaron Rodgers about how the organization's got to be better. Well, Rodgers has gone out and backed it up with sensational play. Not so much with Russ. All right, and I got two guys, Nick Wright and Kevin Wiles, among others, who already are trying to kick him out of Seattle, okay? He needs to go ahead and play well. He's on the verge of having his first losing season of his career, but their faint playoff hopes are still alive. So he's got to go out there and play well and get them a win.
Come on.
They're still alive. They got to run the table. I'm just saying, this is why he's under duress. Because he's got to go out there and win this game for Seattle. All right, get you guys off his back. All right, at number 3, another duo. But this time they're teammates. Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. All right, and Nick and Wiles pointed out earlier in the show why these two are under duress. Dak hasn't been the same since he came back from the calf injury. You've seen his numbers. They've been pedestrian, as Nick said. They've lost 3 out of 4. Yeah. He's got to show he can put them on his back and carry him, even if they don't have the running game. And speaking of the running game, how about Ezekiel Elliott? All right, looked like the old Zeke a month and a half ago. Now he just looks like an old Zeke, all right? Hasn't rushed for more than 51 yards in like the last 5 games. They got to give him the rock, first of all, and he has to deliver. Without a run game, I don't know how far they can go. All right, at number 2, Josh Allen. All right, Josh Allen's still pretty high, I guess, in the MVP rankings. I don't know how. All right, they're 3-3 in their last 6 games, and he's thrown 8 interceptions in his last 6 games, and he's been that roller coaster that Nick has said he is, and now here comes Mac Jones, or McCorkle, as Nick and I guess his parents like to call him. All right, before the rain, this was supposed to be the Josh Allen reign over the AFC East. And now Mac Jones is threatening to take it away and stop the rain before it even really begins. So Josh Allen has to go out there and show, I'm the best quarterback in this division. It is my division, not yours, Mac Jones. And at number 1, Matthew Stafford. All right, Stafford's becoming a mainstay on this list. They've lost their last 3 games. He's thrown a pick 6 in each of those 3 games. And now everyone's looking around. Can this guy win against the good teams? Can this guy handle the pressure of expectations? I get it. They're playing Jacksonville. All right, that's everybody's elixir when you're playing poorly. But he needs to go out there, have a huge game, even though it's a weak opponent, to reestablish the confidence in that locker room that they have in him, that his teammates have in him, that his fans have in him, and maybe even that he has in himself. So, Matt Stafford, you are under duress.
Good list.
Count yourself blessed because you're about to have a big game.
Well, I don't know about that part of it, but that's a good list. You did well. You cheated, obviously. It's a 5-person list. There's 7 guys on there, but that's fine. I understand. A lot of pressure on you. We put the Bud list the day after the committee's tiers, so every week you're like, oh, my God, it is such a perfect addition of tiers. How am I going to match it? So you added people. I get it. I'm going to add one other person. What about Kirk Cousins? And I understand Kirk's numbers are actually phenomenal this year. He has 23 touchdowns and 3 picks. But 2 weeks ago, in their win over Green Bay, he threw a pick to lose the game that then somehow, I still don't understand how, got overturned and they got bailed out. And then last week, I thought Justin Jefferson might fight him. Justin Jefferson was so frustrated with Kirk Cousins, I could feel the frustration because I had the Vikings plus the 4.5. How do you not cover, Minnesota? How do you not cover? And he lines up under the wrong guy. They have to burn a timeout. He sails a ball out of the end zone. And they're playing this week a Lions team that the last time they played them, they needed a 54-yard field goal at the gun to beat 19-17. So they almost lost to the Lions once already. And if they were to lose this week, then the numbers won't matter. The knives will fully be out for Kirk Cousins. And if the Seahawks still have faint playoff hopes alive, I guess the Lions, faintest of playoff hopes still alive, 10-1, maybe they go 6-10-1, sneak in. So they're playing a desperate Lions team. And I think for the Vikings, I think Kirk Cousins is under a bit of duress after what happened last week, Broussard.
But here's the thing about Cousins and why he didn't make the Bud list. All right, the knives are always out for Kirk Cousins. They've been out since he was a backup in Washington. Nobody ever seems to believe in Kirk Cousins, no matter what he does. And you're right, 2 weeks ago, that interception. But when I look in the box score, Nick, that interception isn't in there. What is in there is a big win over Aaron Rodgers and a nice game for Kirk Cousins. And then the week before, he beat Justin Herbert and the Chargers. So he's played, like you said, the numbers are hot. He's had some big wins lately. I get it. They need to win it for the playoffs. But here's the other thing, Nick. It's not a primetime game, not a good opponent. All right, those are the games when Kirk Cousins struggles.
1 o'clock.
It's the lowly Lions. He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Okay. All right. So
what you got,
I'm going to give first a disclaimer to start to the audience. Remember, the Bud List is not a punishment. It is an inspiration. I'm trying to inspire someone here. And I ask for them to be very, very small on this list. Tiny, tiny on this list. Like a ladybug on a comforter. Just barely. And the producer said, that might not show up. I said, I don't care. It could just be like, trust us, it's there. It's Mac Jones. Here's why. The wind blows heavy at the top of the mountain. I may want it tinier if we can redo this. Tiny, 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 tiny. The wind blows high at the top of the mountain. Mac Jones has 4 losses. You got the first 1 or 2. It's your first ever game. Okay. Then you went up against dark horse MVP candidate Jameis Winston. We lost that one. All right. The guy might be win MVP. Who knows? Then you had 2 moral victories. You had a moral victory against Tom Brady at Foxborough. You had a moral victory against Dak that went into overtime. Now we're on a long winning streak. There's no more moral victories. We're kind of like, I know he's still a rookie, but it's not sort of like, it's my first game, we lost to the Dolphins. This is a real game. And if everyone thinks that Mac Jones is as good as I think he is, I think he has to win this game. Now, I think that, look, the guy's 25-5 as a starting quarterback, dating back to Alabama. Oh, you can't do that. Why not? Why not? He went undefeated. Erase it from the record books? The guy literally has lost 5 games since he started shaving.
Trevor Lawrence would love to do that.
That being said, well, he should. He's lost more than 5 games this year. Mac Jones is as a grown-up. So here's the thing. Broussard, I just think that just a tiny bit of Mac Jones, I want him to win. He deserves a spot on the Bud List. Tiny, though. Tiny.
Okay. Look, you are right that the Bud List is about inspiration, all right, not insult. But you've taken it a step too far, okay, because it's not all about inspiration. There is some truth there that these dudes are struggling, and these dudes need W's, all right? And Mac Jones, yes, okay, it's later in the season. It's no longer, his 4th or 5th start. People are starting to jump on the little bandwagon, even Nick privately. Not on the show, but privately, jumping on the bandwagon. But Mac Jones isn't the one who's in the MVP conversation, or was, okay, like Josh Allen. He isn't the one who was supposed to lead his team to the Super Bowl, like Josh Allen. He isn't the one who's playing at home, like Josh Allen. So while I know you got some type of ulterior motive, maybe it's as simple as you want him to win, but I think there's even something more powerful in your mind about why you want to put Little Mac, and maybe that's the nickname, Little Mac, on Dirty the Mac. Bud List. I just, no, he's not there.
Well, look, if he wins this game, I am going to be insufferable, Jenna, to myself. I am going to be, on Tuesday morning, I am going to be saying words, and I'll have a mirror there and be like, this guy is so annoying, and that guy is me, and I don't care. I don't care at all. You guys better watch out Tuesday. It's gonna be a parade. Be careful.
I like it. By far one of the best Bud Lists. We love it, Broussard. We're going to get Coach's thoughts on that a little bit later on. Mangini's going to join us. Right now, Nick's got to hand out some NBA medals. Sixers Celtics and Jason Tatum leading the way for Boston. 26-16 as Celtics beat Philly in a low-scoring affair. 88-87 was the final, but Tatum just missing out on a medal. And the way that sentence goes is Tatum just missing out on a medal. Nick, which 3 guys made your medal stand?
Terrible final possession for Philly, by the way. Bronze medal, Jayshawn Tate. Not only because he had 32, 10, and 7, but because he is vindicating Broussard and I against Killjoy Kevin Wildes. Oh, the Rockets, stupid fake triple doubles. Oh, all of a sudden they went from 1-15 to winners of 4 in a row. What do you know, Wildes? Silver medal, LaMelo Ball. 36, 5, and 9, and what could have been the game-saving 3 right here. Bangerang. Unfortunately, something else happened right after, and what happened was the gold medalist. Giannis, gold medal, 40, 12, and 9. So and if we can show it, please, the game winner. Now, I understand some folks will tell you that doesn't count as a game winner. It only counts as a game winner if you look like Kobe or Michael when you shoot the ball. But they are wrong. That is the most efficient of all game winners, the game-winning layup. Yes. Who does that remind me of? I'll have to think about it. Something is awful fishy around here, America. Giannis with the gold. Jenna, there's your medal stand. We need no responses. We just keep it moving. There's your medal stand from last night in the NBA.
Giannis and LaMelo with a nice little jersey exchange after. 2 of them.
Yes, they did.
Back talking some Dallas Cowboys now. Coming into tonight, losers of 3 of their last 4. What do they need to do to get back on track against the Taysom Hill-led Saints? Coach Mangini's going to tell us next. Stick around for some spurts. On Saturday, Jim Harbaugh leads the second-ranked Michigan Wolverines into their first ever Big Ten championship game. Looking to punch their ticket to the playoffs against number 13 Iowa. Coverage begins 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox and the Fox Sports at Michigan and Iowa. Moving on, talk some Dallas Cowboys now. They're down in New Orleans tonight for a date with the Saints. Date night, Thursday Night Football. Been a rough stretch for Dallas. They've lost 3 of 4. That offense hasn't exactly been lighting it up, and they'll be without head coach Mike McCarthy and 5 other coaches tonight because of a COVID outbreak. They did activate Amari Cooper off the COVID list, and they expect CeeDee Lamb back in the lineup, so that should help Dak. You know what would help us? A man with a plan. If only we knew such a man. Oh, we do. We do. Coach Eric Mangini is a man, and he joins us now. Coach, favorite part of the week, your game plan, hand-delivered to us with all the trimmings. Nothing we like more. How do the Cowboys beat the Saints tonight? Coach Eric Mangini, be the man.
Well, thank you, Jenna. Another fantastic introduction. I don't know if my wife considers Thursday Night Football date night, but I'm going to propose that to her. See if that can usurp, our traditional one. In terms of the Cowboys, I grew up a Cowboys fan, and obviously not a fan of one team right now, but I can feel and empathize with the frustration that their fans must have, because it's hard to watch at times some of the things that they're doing. And the first thing that they've got to do is they've got to quarantine these destructive plays. They go into last game, they lead the league in penalties, and what do? They have 14 penalties. They set a franchise record for penalty yards. On top of that, this is 2 weeks in a row where I'm watching the offensive line and they're cutting guys free in the passing game. And I'm not talking about complex defenses that they have to sort through. I'm talking about a big body that they just don't block. And those type of things can't happen. You can't have those mental errors. And then you look at it and there's multiple drop passes, there's multiple poor throws. And as difficult as having your head coach in quarantine and losing coaches, and as disruptive as that can be, it can also be a good thing to get a fresh voice, to use some of that time that you'd have for team meetings to give it to the defensive as a unit or the offense as a unit, or maybe the position coaches to try to get some of this stuff worked out. But that's the first step. The second step is focus on what you do well in the running game and then do a lot of it. You don't need to be, you don't need a plan of 20 runs. Get 4 to 6 or maybe 8 runs. So 3 or 4 for Dak, 3 or 4 for Pollard, and run them twice. Run them once to the left, once to the right. Run it again in the second half. Maybe you mix in a little bit of a jet sweep, 1 or 2 of those. That gets you to your 25 to 30 carries, and you can dress it up with formations, but do things that you run really well, and then also allow the backs to do things they do really well. Right now, what does Zeke do well? He runs downhill. He should be the inside downhill runner. That should be his package. And then use Pollard on the perimeter. The tight ends, they can't be a liability in the running game. They've got to do a better job, and they've got to find ways that they can be involved where it's not consistently a downside when they're at the point of the tag. And then in addition to that, the idea of the Raiders being able to hold you to 3.2 yards a carry. We're not talking about the 85 Bears here. They were 29th in run defense. This has to be a point of emphasis, and it's got to be fixed. We go into another situation, 40-plus passes last game. Going into the game, they were 5-12. Now they're 5-13. So that's the second step. And then the third step is you got to run less cat coverage. And what I mean by that is cat coverage is man-to-man defense. And it's called that because you got that cat, you got that cat, you got that cat. It's easy. It's simple. It allows you the chance to create some disruptive plays, to get tight coverage, but it also creates opportunities for big plays. And that's what happened to the Cowboys last game. Multiple big plays in man-to-man defense, post-safety man-to-man defense, and it's problematic. And this is by far the Cowboys' lead defense. Now, what could they do? They could run more cover 3. That's their second leading defense, and that's what Dan ran a significant amount in Seattle. That's the Seattle philosophy, and it's not as disruptive, but you don't give up those big plays. And let me show you what I mean from last game and how this can become an issue. Here it is against the Raiders, and that's cat coverage. There's no disguise. Everybody's man-to-man defense. You're going to get short hole help from one of the linebackers. You're going to get deep hole help in between the hashes from the safety. What are the Raiders going to do? They're going to run shallow crossers by the tight end, running away from the help. You got a post. That'll be taken away. But now here's Deshaun Jackson. He's going to run an over route. Again, you're not going to get any help from one of the linebackers underneath. You're not going to get any help from the post safety at all. So as Derek Carr goes back, remember there's no disguise. He's sitting back there evaluating. He's got to confirm two things. Is the safety in the middle field? There he is, just like he was at pre-snap. And now what? Here's Deshaun Jackson. He's got to step. I know he hasn't been there a long time, but here's the scouting report. He's fast. He's fast. Okay, so now you've got a fast guy on an over route running away from coverage. And the DB, if you can't make the play, you've got to make the tackle. This team is 13th worst in the NFL in missed tackles. So now you're in man coverage. You've got one guy left who can make the tackle. Use the sideline, leverage him to the sideline, or at least slow him up so that someone else can come and make this tackle. But this is the issue. When you're in man coverage, there's typically only one guy left to make these plays. And if he misses, now you have a situation like this where it's a 54-yard touchdown. So the risk isn't worth the reward, or it hasn't been worth the reward for the Cowboys. And even though there's simplicity to it, it's creating problems, and you can mix more 3 in and at least bring this to maybe balance as opposed to significant cat coverage.
And Coach, it seems like last year one of the complaints about the Cowboys defense was it was too complex. Guys didn't know where they were needed to be. They simplified it, so maybe now at this point in the season they can be a melding of the two to a degree. But as per usual, want to talk to you about the running game. Because there were two tweets from two different people I really respect that I thought kind of encapsulated my view and your view. The first one's from Bill Barnwell, who I think is the single smartest person currently writing about football. He wrote, "It's incredible how the solution for any problem for any team in the NFL is to run the ball more." And I was like, oh, I want to send that to Coach. Then there was this tweet from former All-Pro offensive lineman Mitchell Schwartz, and it was actually a long series of tweets. I'm going to read you a couple. Football's controlled violence, about physically imposing your will on another person. The run game taps into that instinct and mindset in a way the pass game doesn't. It breeds physical competence. That's why coaches revert to it and put such a huge emphasis on it. We can show the next tweet now. He goes on. You should read the whole thread, by the way. I'm going to try to read this off the screen. Being physically dominant, imposing your will, breaking their will is real and has an impact. It's literally animalistic behavior at its core. Demonstrative performance breeds confidence and success, which again is at the core of football's mental principles. And I saw these and I'm like, okay, I think there's the disconnect Coach and I have. Because I'm more in the Barnwell school, which is like I look at the EPA, I look at the yards, I look at the analytics, and for the majority of teams, running the ball at a high level or at a high rate is inefficient. But Mitchell Schwartz was one of the best tackles in the league for a long time. And he was talking almost more about the mental and emotional side of it. So that's my question to you is, how much of your emphasis on running the football is less necessarily about what it achieves on a singular play and more about what it can achieve over 3.5 hours of football warfare?
Yeah, I don't think you can. I don't think you can summarize the effect of the running game in 140 characters in a simple tweet and then just marginalize it by saying, "Oh, this is the simplistic answer that all coaches default to because they're not smart enough to figure out anything else." I mean, that's one way to look at it, but to me, it's not right. It's not accurate. What the running game does for the passing game is significant. It allows you to set up play action, which is a big part of the passing game. It slows down pass rushers. It gives the offensive line a chance to take a break and attack as opposed to defend. It also, like in a boxing match, when you're working the body of the boxer that you're up against, it wears them down. And there is nothing as demoralizing as sitting on the sideline and watching another team run the ball down your throat and knowing that there's nothing that you can do about it. And typically what happens is now you're gonna keep pushing up, you're gonna keep pushing up, you're gonna do everything you can to stop it, which now creates opportunities for gigantic plays. And I'm not saying it has to be 70-30 run to pass. I'm just saying there has to be balance. And when you've got guys who are very good at running the ball and you decide to take them out of the game, you as a coordinator decide to take them out of the game, well, to me, that's not good ball either. That to me is defaulting to the easy thing. Let me go ahead and try to find a pass that'll solve my problem.
Great answer, Coach, because I'm more in the Mangini, Mitchell Schwartz camp than I am with the Nick Wright camp. I love running the football like that. And I got to say this again. Look, I love the lingo. Okay, don't avoid the bad play or eliminate the bad play, but quarantine it. Absolutely love it. I'm a little surprised, though, that you didn't go with rivet on what you do well in the run game. You went with focus, is more conventional, but I'll let that go because quarantine was so good. But you and Nick were just talking about the mental game. All right, and I am concerned. This is a must-win for the Cowboys mentally and emotionally in my book. Obviously, mathematically, it isn't. But where will they be if they lose this game to a third-string quarterback, a team that's lost 4 straight games, on national TV, when they're getting back DeMarcus Lawrence, when they're getting back Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, and it will be their 4th loss in 5 games, where do you think the Cowboys would be at mentally if they don't go out and take care of business tonight? And how would you fix it if they lose?
Well, first of all, I thought that you would like cat coverage better than those other 2 terms. Yeah. And I did have to explain that to my 13-year-old.
That was cool, too.
What a cat is, and he's like, well, why would you call someone a cat? I'm like, I don't know, it's just a thing. But I thought you'd like that. In terms of tonight, it'll be demoralizing if they don't play better. And what I mean by that is cleaning up the mistakes that are inherently under their control. The idea that you're going to have 14 penalties and set a franchise record with 166 yards, that to me is disappointing on a whole different level. And then the mental errors by players, again, that's inherently under your control. How much do you study? How well do you communicate? And things like drop passes, concentration, poor throws, concentration. Those things to me, if they just clean up those things, that's gonna go a long way. But if they do end up losing tonight, there's going to be a lot of questions because football after Thanksgiving is different. The sense of urgency ramps up because you know you're close to the end, And every single game, not like Nick at the first game of the season where it's got to be a must-win, or the preseason game's a must-win. These games take on significance now that is different than you have before Thanksgiving.
All right, Cowboys and Saints, little Thursday Night Football tonight. Coach, stick around. We got more to talk to you about. But right now, little Baker Mayfield. Things have taken a turn for the worse in Cleveland. Is there still time to salvage something out of the season for the Browns? That's next. First things first. First things first, Coach back with us talking some Baker Mayfield. The Browns are on a bye this week. That hasn't stopped the buzz around Baker. He's banged up, hasn't been playing well enough to earn a big extension. And the Browns have fallen way behind in the race for a wild card spot in the AFC. Despite all of it, Browns GM Andrew Berry has a glass, and that glass is half full. He said yesterday, we expect Baker to play his best football down the stretch. Well, hey, to break it to you, Andrew Berry, this is the stretch. We are in the stretch. The stretch, not pretty. Still a game against each of the AFC North teams, and you got the Raiders, and you got the Packers. So, Nick, can Baker and the Browns salvage the season?
Unfortunately, I don't think they can. This was supposed to be the season they go back-to-back above 500 for the first time since the 1980s, and that was the minimum threshold. Supposed to make the playoffs again, maybe get around further, get to the AFC Championship game. Some people even had them going to the Super Bowl, which never made sense to me because the Chiefs play in the AFC, but that's neither here nor there. And the reason that they're not going to get there is because the offense has fallen apart. The defense hasn't been great, but, you do have Myles Garrett, who has 14 sacks, and Denzel Ward, who's been rated by PFF as the league's best corner. So why is it falling apart? Coach, to me, it's pretty obvious that Baker is incredibly injured and trying to play through it. I don't think they should have let him. They let him, and now I think their season is unsalvageable. I don't think he's going to get healthy. He'll get slightly healthier over the bye, but not healthy enough. I don't see a way, Coach, for them to win 4 of their final 6 as they would need to in order to salvage this season. 4 of their final 5, pardon me.
Well, I disagree. And when Kansas City was struggling, I bought Kansas City stock, and I would buy Brown stock. And it's not based off of Baker. Wow. It's based more off the fact that Kareem Hunt's back and that Nick Chubb is back. And they faced a tremendous amount of injuries over the course of the season, and everybody has, but we're putting Baker into a context where we're not taking into account all the other things that were happening surrounding him, the problems with the offensive line in terms of injuries, losing 2 explosive, game-changing backs for long stretches of time. Now those guys are back. They've all got an extra week to get healthy, and expectations have changed, and people are going to treat them differently, which is going to help them over the stretch. And I do feel that they can make a run. And as much as Baker is being crushed, he is good enough to win, and he's especially good enough to win when they have the supporting cast in place, which they're getting back to.
Can I tell you something? I'm going to make a confession to the panel here. One of the keys of being a sports television analyst is to have an opinion, put a stake in the ground, and never move from it. I'm moving. Broussard, I'm on your team now. Baker is fine and good enough to play. I'm sorry, Nick. I'm abandoning you. I'm on Team Broussard now, and here's why. Baker says, I'm healthy enough. Kevin Stefanski says, we're not making a change. He's our guy. The GM says he's healthy enough to win. So why are you and me, Nick, out here being like, no, sit him. I think he should sit. He should sit down. We're wrong. Everyone in a position of decision-making and power is on Team Broussard. So I'm sorry, buddy. I looked at how the winds were blowing. I'm off of the Nick Wright train, and I'm on the Broussard train. It just is. If everyone in a position of power is saying the guy's healthy enough, then you got to say he's healthy enough in case Keenum's not the guy. Now, if he goes out there and starts losing games, I think Broussard, they're going to shut him down, period. I think there is a little bit of this saying like, hey, he's healthy enough to win games. If you're not, you got to let's get this surgery, because at a certain point, Broussard, There's reports that this surgery is going to be a 4 to 6 month rehab. And if getting to the playoffs is out of the picture, I think you got to shut Baker down. But right now, buddy, you and me, 2 peas in the pod. I'm on Team Broussard.
Well, congratulations, Wiles, for coming over to the right side. And it is ironic that you've abandoned Nick. Because Nick, claims to be all about take integrity and so on and so forth. And yet he's abandoned the Cleveland Browns. All right, I won't do that. I am not abandoning the Browns. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you they're getting to the AFC Championship game, but I'm giving them a shot.
So you're abandoning
I am with Andrew Berry. They can turn this thing around. Once you get to the tournament, who knows? Anything can happen. They got a shot. And Coach laid it out. You got Chubb and Hunt back. Jarvis Landry's been out, back and out. He's got a chance to get more reacclimated to the offense. Baker will get healthier. And look, throw the schedule up again. I get it. You're not playing a bunch of chumps, but you also are playing teams that are beatable. Look, we know what the Ravens are. I mean, the Ravens are up and down. They're beatable. The Raiders
they have
certainly
the best
beatable.
record in the conference.
Yeah, but they're up and down, and they just struggled against the Browns, all right? And it's a rivalry, all that. The Packers... God. It will take a bad game by the Packers for the Cleveland to beat them, most likely. But that's possible. I mean, Packers probably won't win every game out from here on out. Pittsburgh, very beatable. And the Bengals, to use your word, Nick, the Browns just mollywopped them, put 41 on them. So, look, they can definitely turn this thing around, Nick. And I'm going to give this your last chance. Hop back on the take integrity train.
No, listen, my take integrity has never left me. However, there are certain rules that everyone understands. And one of them is you can adjust football picks if football team's quarterback gets hurt. I had the Cowboys in the Super Bowl last year. Dak broke his leg. It doesn't count anymore. Those are the rules. This idea that Baker Mayfield, Wild said in the same sentence, he's healthy enough. And then also, he's going to at some point have surgery with a 4 to 6 month recovery period. The hell are we talking about?
I know, it's weird.
Do you guys know the injury reports listing? Week 7, he misses the game. Week 10, they add a foot injury to the report. Week 11, they add a knee injury to the report. He is currently listed as limited with foot, knee, and shoulder injuries. Guys, okay, it's fine. It's fine. I will say this. Last final little point on the Browns. No one else is going to say this. I believe it to be true. I think the offense kind of misses Beckham. Not for Beckham's production, for Beckham's attention. Coach, hold on. Coach, don't roll your beautiful blue eyes at me. Listen to me. Did you not see? Did you guys not see Van Jefferson? Did you not see Van Jefferson? Oh, all of a sudden Van Jefferson has his best game of the year. I wonder why. Because defenses are afraid of what Beckham's going to do. All of a sudden, Donovan Peoples-Jones isn't the threat he once was. I wonder why. Because defenses aren't afraid of Odell. I'm just telling, don't roll the animation on me. I was making an Odell point.
You know who is a threat?
Good they won that game.
Baby Goat. Baby Goat's a threat, Nick. Mac Jones, he made a move yesterday. It's got a lot of us thinking about the grown-up goat. Baby Goat, the grown-up goat. We're talking Mac Jones. We're talking Tom Brady. This is a fun one. It's the other side. It's First Things First. Welcome back. Stories to start your morning. Sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Hey, can we talk some Thursday night football tonight? Big game. Cowboys kicking off Week 13 down in New Orleans. Been kind of a rough stretch for Dallas. They lost 3 of their last 4 games. They haven't exactly been lighting it up. And they're going to be without their head coach. Mike McCarthy and 5 other coaches are out tonight because of a team COVID outbreak. They did activate Amari Cooper off the COVID list, and they are expecting CeeDee Lamb back in the lineup. So a few good things for Dallas heading into this game. But Wilds, any chance the Saints can upset the Dallas Cowboys tonight?
Jenna, the Cowboys are officially on upset alert. We usually do upset alerts on Friday. Your old buddy Kevin Wilds gives you a guarantee.
Yeah.
But I came this one early, Jenna. This is a Thursday night upset alert. Here's why. Everything is being downplayed around this game. Everything. Cowboys don't have their coach. And NFL media and fans at large are like, meh, no big deal. It is a big deal. What's the other one? It's a Thursday night game. Weird things have been happening.
I agree with that
regular game. It's
no
not
McCarthy
a
on the sideline.
It's not a regular.
Edge Dallas.
No, that's not.
I agree with you.
It's not. See, people are making jokes of it. It is going to rear its head. Thursday night games have been weird. Falcons didn't even show up against the Patriots, ended up throwing back-to-back-to-back interceptions, just weird. The Dolphins destroyed Lamar Jackson on Thursday. Remember last year, Thursday, Tom Brady, greatest of all time, like, is there 4 downs or 5 downs? I'm not quite sure. The weirdness of Thursday nights. And finally, the ultimate weird narrative in the NFL. Is Taysom Hill a good quarterback? Maybe when you look at the numbers. One thing I do know is I think he's difficult to prepare for. The guy is thrown. He's 3-1. Completion percentage 72. Putting up yards. Putting up some TDs. Decent passer rating. 4 rushing touchdowns. Nick, here's the other stat that Dusty gave me. There's no tape on Taysom Hill this year, really. He's completed 9 passes. He's only thrown 9 passes. All of them have been caught. 8 for 8 to Saints players, 1 for 1 to the other team. So look, whatever you think about him, the guy is accurate. So between it being a weird Thursday, having their coaching staff scrambled, and it's kind of like the mystery of Taysom Hill, I think the Cowboys are ripe for an upset.
Yeah, the mystery of Taysom Hill, that factor, Wilds. Kevin Clark, the great writer and podcaster for The Ringer, pulled out a Mark Twain line this week that I hadn't heard, but I think it applies here, which is the most dangerous swordsman in the world isn't the second best swordsman, it's the ignorant swordsman. And the idea behind it is if you're the best in the world, you're not worried about the second best. You're worried about the guy who doesn't really know what he's doing because it adds so much randomness to it. So when you ask an H-back to play quarterback, you are adding randomness to it. You're adding the what the hell is going to happen factor. I understand that. But I also understand what you're doing here because I believe the Cowboys are going to roll. The Cowboys have to win. They're the better team. They're the healthier team aside from the coaching staff. I think they're going to win. But I see Broussard, he's trying to build up Taysom Hill, and there's a reason for this. Can we show those Taysom Hill numbers again, maybe alongside, a mystery quarterback? Just pick any quarterback. I don't know who. No, what do you mean? Don't I dare? So Taysom Hill's career as a starting quarterback. Touchdown interception ratio identical. Passer rating almost identical. Taysom Hill slightly higher win percentage. Complete. That's like the same guy. Who's the other one? Who is that mystery? Oh my goodness gracious. Looky there. It's McCorkle.
Get out of here with this.
Old M. McCorkle Jones. So that's why. That's why Wilds is a big Taysom Hill guy. Because he sees so much of McCorkle in Taysom. I get that. Taysom, to be fair, is a little more athletic. But I understand the comp. I understand the love. But Broussard, I believe the Cowboys roll tonight. I think they win by double digits.
Low point for the show.
Yeah, look, what was a pattern on today's show for Wilds for some reason? You went too far, Wilds. All right, Taysom, I like Taysom. I'm intrigued by what he does tonight. But the Saints aren't winning this game. All right, the Dallas Cowboys are going to win. There is a gut feeling within me that says they win big, maybe 2 touchdowns or so. But I'm just going to say 6 points to be safe. All right, but they're going to win because if they lose, it will be disastrous. All right, I get it. Mathematically, they can afford it in the NFC East. All right, but it'll start to get hairy if they lose, even mathematically. They'll only be 1 game ahead of Washington, which we all know now is frisky in the loss column. All right, Washington has won its last 3 games. They're hot. And look at the quarterbacks they've beaten. Tom Brady, that's just a great win, obviously. But the other 2, even though these guys aren't having good years and Cam is just not a good quarterback anymore, the names, all right? Cam Newton, Russell Wilson. So Brady, Newton, Wilson, those are the quarterbacks that Washington has beaten these last 3 weeks, and the Cowboys have to face them 2 more times. So if they lose this game, they really do have a fight on their hands now to win that division. And all of a sudden, where a month ago you were in the Super Bowl conversation, now the conversation is just, will you still make the playoffs? All right? They've got to go out and win this game for those mathematical reasons, but also psychologically and mentally, Nick. I just don't know where they'll be. If they lose for the fourth time in 5 games to a third-string quarterback, sorry, Wilds, but that's what he is, a third-string quarterback who's got a foot injury, mentally they're going to be in trouble. So they got to go out and win.
To a team that's lost that hasn't won in a month. And a team that the last time they won was when Jameis Winston was dancing on the crutches in the locker room. Like, the Cowboys, I do believe, still have a faint hope, Wilds, of making their first conference championship game in a quarter century. That gets extinguished entirely if they can't, after, and I would consider a disappointing, embarrassing performance to the Raiders, a team that, by the way, had come into that game losers of 3 straight, then gets the Saints, losers of 4 straight, Wilds, and loses to them. Then they no longer get to be considered contenders of any sort.
Okay, so here's the thing. We're in the holiday season. And last night, I went and I put away all my Halloween stuff and I went up to the attic and brought down, I didn't put away, but it was in the attic, brought down my Christmas. I was like, man, Halloween seems like a long time ago. That's what everybody is remembering about the Cowboys, where Dak is throwing the ball and Zeke looks explosive. Let's just focus. That's not the team they have been in recent memory. Let's look at Zeke. Is Zeke going to get the ball and be hitting the holes and getting a bunch of carries? No. Since week 5, attempts, down, yards, half, TDs, 3, yards per rush, less than about 3.5. So it's not that I don't believe in the Cowboys. I just think that everyone's memory of the Cowboys is casting too long of a shadow, Broussard. This team is not the explosive team that we saw earlier in the year. They're more like the team we saw against the Chiefs that is struggling to move the ball, and I could see them struggling tonight.
Well, they're not that team, Wiles, but remember, you can't just not factor in the injuries. All right, they're getting DeMarcus Lawrence back. All right, that's going to help that defense. They're getting Amari Cooper and CD Lamb back. That's going to help that offense, both the passing game and it should help the run game. And Zeke, we know, is a volume runner. So he's got to get more than 12 rushes. He's had 9 carries in each of the last 2 games. That ties his career low. Give him the rock and watch him be thunder and let Howard be lightning. Oh, wow, you're wrong on this.
The only part I disagree with you on there, Broussard, is Zeke's knee is concerning.
More
but I think Dallas wins.
Why did you have all your Halloween stuff still out, Wilds? That's just weird. Undisputed coming up right now.
I was in the attic. There's ghosts up.